Hello, welcome to another episode of Growing the Game. Yes, I know it's been a minute, and yeah, we're back. We just had to wait for the basketball activities to come to an end, and we can get back to you guys and with some interesting breakdowns and updates here. And yeah, before we get to this, I think I'll use this platform to say it's been 1 year we started this journey, and God been so good. Yeah, everything has been going perfectly well, and thanks to all the cherished viewers and listeners who have been following us since day one of this journey, and we really appreciate you guys sticking with us. And yeah, more content to be brought to you, and we'll try our best to a up our game also. And yeah, let's get right into it. And today I'm still here with my regular co-host in the person of Manyehilisa, who is going to help me break down the basketball activities that took turns over the weekend and over the week as well. And yeah, welcome, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good and you, Kwaku. Happy 1 year anniversary to growing the game, man. And
Yeah,
I'm also happy to have been part of the journey, even if it was almost half the year. But yeah, man,
yeah,
happy to have helped the platform grow and also spreading the gospel of African basketball.
exactly. Yeah, we happy as well, and God been so good with Campfire, and yeah, we're not going to stop. We'll still keep pushing. Let's turn our focus to basketball, and let's talk about today. We want to look at the BAL that went on in South Africa,
Yes.
where you were live at the auditorium of the Sunbet Arena to witness everything. You saw what went down there. We actually had a preview to it, and now we're going to just do a recap of whatever happened. And
Yeah.
yeah, so tell me what was your your take on the whole tournament that went down in Sunbet Arena, Pretoria.
I think again, as I said last year when the playoffs and finals were hosted here in South Africa, that there's a huge appetite for the game, man. And, there's no reason why South African basketball finds itself where it is, where it's, still fighting for a place of relevance. It's still, badly run the way it is, and the BAL fans turning out the way they did, even if it was not their home club, fans turned out. Well, there was decent turnout for the games that didn't involve the Giants, but the fans turned up for the what a good quality of basketball. So, it was a overall fun experience, great experience. I guess also great for content gatherers, your influencers, your
Mm.
who's who of South African society to be seen. And, yes, it was whole great entertainment on and off the court. Yeah.
Yeah, well said and well noted. Yeah, we also sat behind our screens to witness everything that went on there. And yeah, we're glad South Africa gave us something amazing, nice preparation and everything to this BL. And yeah, it was exciting. But for me personally, I would say I'm kind of disappointed in some fields. That is basically on the court of play. What went down on the court itself, I wasn't really happy. I'm speaking from the analytical point of view, not just as a
Yeah.
basketball fan or spectator, but from the analytical point of view. Though in our previous podcast, I said I wouldn't be expecting much from this conference because we know that it's going to be a try and error thing that will go down in Pretoria, and the teams that are very strong with their imports would pick up even when they do try and error. It will work for them in the
Yeah.
start when they start this try and error thing. It's going to work for them perfectly, and it's clearly what happened. Teams came in to do try and error to see if we will get the chance to go. And it's worked for them perfectly. Teams like Dar City came in with the risk of winning their two games. So they tried to go all out with the strongest team they've got. And it's worked for them. It's paid off. They won their first two games and they didn't really care about the rest of the games.
Yeah.
Teams like Nairobi City Tenders, unfortunately, it couldn't work for them. The try and error play didn't really work for them because there was a lot of things that didn't go on the court. You could see that this team lacked a lot, and unfortunately, some of their imports that is signed couldn't make it to the teams. Yeah, it's rather unfortunate. Joburg Giants, we were expecting much from them from what we saw at the Elite 16. They put up a massive show
Yeah.
in the Elite 16. Then all of a sudden, this guys comes to the BL front, and then they become like they started playing like a Division One club, which I don't understand. Sorry to say, I mean no disrespect. What we saw from Joburg Giants was below bar. I was practically disappointed because you could see the vast difference between what they put out there in the early 16 and what they put out there on the court at the BO itself. I
Yeah.
don't know if it was fear or it was a first time experience for most of these guys and or what. I don't know, but
Mm,
I think moving forward they should work on that. Coach Flush should work on that and put a better team together to compete at that stage. Yes, Al wasn't expecting much in their first two games because they brought in two new players which didn't train with the team. As I said in the earlier previous podcast, they had issues with some players obtaining visa to come to South Africa, so they had to drop those players and get two new players in the likes of Joel Akil, Eloal, and then Majok Denk. So we didn't see that chemistry work in the first two games, but after the first two games, they picked up and they were a very strong force on the court. RSSB Tigers took the world by surprise or took the continent by surprise, but I am not still surprised with their performance. And I'll say it's with all confidence that I'm still not surprised. I'm still not seeing them as a strong contender for the BAL title. I have my reasons, which I would let it out going further more into the podcast.
yeah.
Petro de Luanda, a solid team. Once again, they showed why they are dominant when it comes to the African front. And yeah, you can't say much about them because we all know their story. We all know their history. We know how resilient these guys are,
Yeah.
ready to fight for the badge of Petro. Which
Yeah.
team am I missing now? I think I'll be missing.
I think you covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's from my
Aseti,
point of
Nairobi City
perspective.
Thunder, Al Ahly, RSSB, Petro, and
And Joburg Giants.
obviously the Giants.
Yeah. So yeah, but I don't know for you. I don't know what you're expecting, and I don't know if you met the expectations were
Yeah,
met.
well, with Petro, of course, we had predicted that they will be among the clubs that will stamp their ticket to the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
given their consistency and also their chemistry, having the same players over the years, your Dundaus, your Gonsalveses, your
Mm-hmm.
Clesio Castros, Yannick Moreiras of this world. The list goes on and on. And the players that they sign, these are your imports just fitting into the team. I, for one, enjoyed their basketball, their dynamic that they have on the court where everybody knows where everybody is, how they share the ball, how they,
Mm-hmm.
in general, just play basketball and, where the coach also emphasizes the team dynamic, even in his post match conferences and also on the media day. So it was, I think that's at that stage of the tournament, the Kalahari Conference, I think it was a given that they will progress.
Mm-hmm.
And then RSSB, okay, they have something there. I was pleasantly surprised that the team that they had put together, yes, managed to mesh well in such a short space of time and get the result that they get. Got a victory over Petro as well, which was, I think, a surprise victory for me. I think the true test for them will be these playoffs. Rwandan teams, of course, have a tendency of always getting past the conference stage, but
Yeah.
they falter in playoff stages. So, yeah, we will get to learn the true metal of this RSSB team at the playoff stage. Obviously, there's going to be that seeding game and then the actual business of the final eight, final four. So we'll see what this team is made of. Al Ahly, well, they were a bit disappointing in the first two games. Of course, two very difficult games, but also the team was still trying to find itself, as you had mentioned. Late signings, visa issues. I think coach having to now adjust. Jean-Jacques Boissy in the mix zone had also alluded to the team trying to find itself. Some
Mm-hmm.
had felt that maybe the coach is losing the team, but they got back to themselves, found the game. Guys like Machok Deng, Joe Lual, they've been here before. They're experienced. Mohamed Sadi, a champion alongside Jean-Jacques Boissy, who was an
Yeah.
MVP of this tournament. So, yeah, that kind of experience, yes, would have was enough to help them get there. The imports guy, a guy like Damien Bohr, who had competition's first triple double. Yeah, he played a starring role in the last three games, so they really settled. And they also, I think, they face a real test as well in the final eight to see if they were just ironing out the issues, or they are just a team that's skating by, even though
Yeah,
they finished with a 3-2 record. Dar City, I'm a bit concerned about their depth. Yes, they get the imports helped a lot, but again, it's just that maybe when you look at RSSB, the local quality might be slightly better, whereas
yeah,
Abigail relied heavily on the imports. They played so 40 minutes of basketball. You saw that David Mishunu got injured there. I think
yeah. I know that one.
eventually your body playing that amount of games, even though this is Utomi in a press conference had said that they are professionals and they are here to play basketball. 40 minutes for any player, I think, yeah,
Drain.
it's
It's
just
draining.
not
Yeah,
feasible. You have to have, and it's something Tanzanian basketball in general they have to look at and make sure that going forward, much as it's a great achievement of what qualifying for the BAL, they have to improve the standard of the BA. They have to have make sure that they have players that are what BAL quality and BAL ready.
standard. Yeah,
Yes. And then Nairobi City Thunder, they won one more game than what they did last year, but still, as you mentioned, they didn't get some of the players they needed. I think maybe also in terms of signing, they could have done a little bit better by making sure that they get somebody to deputize for Eugene Adera. Although I feel Derek Ogechi did do a slightly good job to try and run things, be a facilitator, be a scorer, but you still need a seasoned point guard to help the team pull the strings for the team. But also you have to wonder, uh, is the coaching department, the technical department up to scratch? Do they have the kind of experience that's needed to coach at that level? Time will tell. Maybe some decisions have to be made regarding that. You can dominate in Kenya, but when it comes to the continent, there's another level of basketball that's being played.
yeah,
Those 16 and 0 results, they're great, but when you the rest of Africa, yeah, it's a totally different
yeah. Different.
pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then coming home, man, hey, yeah, the Giants. Yeah.
You have to
Oh,
take
and
a
five.
deep breath on that one.
Yeah, I think, yeah, when you watched the post-match conferences of Coach Floshe Mungwenya, he was in the first game defiant, positive, and as time went on, frustrated, and eventually just resigned himself in the last game to the fact that we are not where we need to be as a country. I think in the final press conference against the match against what
Petro.
Petro de
The last
Luanda.
game against Petro.
Yes. He was like, now they might have to use resources, their financial resources, to go and find competition outside the country so that, they can compete at this level. Whether that's the solution, that I'm a bit iffy about it. I think maybe they should concentrate their resources on helping to, grow the club, strengthen their structures, also use the clout that they have within the club to, help fix things in South African basketball. I think
Hmm.
there has to be a collective effort. And just looking at the team as a whole, man, you could see a guy like Jacoby Hedy was the standout player. Uh, there was Nati Sibanyoni as well with the rebounds, double doubles. He was a
Hmm.
standout player. Prince Lou, his form dipped
Very
in a bad
drastically.
way. Guys like Joshua Ozabo stepped up. Nino Dim here and there in those games. Yeah, yeah, acquitted himself. But yeah, overall, it was just what clear picture of where we are in the country. I mean, the decline from Cape Town Tigers making it to the playoff stages to just
In
disappearing off the
semi-finals.
scene. Yeah, and semifinals, of course, led by Coach Floshi Mungwenya at that time. And
Exactly.
then, disappearing off the scene completely. And then having your MBB only win only one game. And then to this result that we have of, being 0-5. It just speaks to the amount of work that needs to be done to get
Mm.
South African basketball on par with the rest of the continent or with the strong nations on the continent.
Exactly, exactly. Well said. And
Mm.
I think I accept that point you made. I go with that point. And basketball, exactly, especially had to be strengthened in South Africa, so we could have
Yeah,
much competition for club teams that looks to represent the country on the continental level. Because
exactly.
yes, you can't say a team that defeats NBB in club championship defeats Marlins in club championship are to that standard to compete at the continental level. Yes, we did see a massive work they put in when they went to Kenya to play the Elite 16, but the question is, what went wrong after that? Is it because they came
Uh,
back and they didn't have much training session or didn't play in any competitive games? Or was it
yeah,
that
you
these
heard
players?
there were, rumors here and there, but I don't want to air them here on this platform until they are confirmed. But, one of the things you did see was a lack of preparation or maybe
Hmm,
playing competition that is not really of the standard of the BAL or strong
hmm,
domestic competitions. We at home, we need to strengthen our domestic competitions. That probably means strengthening the BNL and probably restructuring it, having a
hmm,
strong, yeah, I think maybe domestic competition. So
hmm.
your FNL Friday Night Lights, while it's good, is it the kind of competition that gets you ready for the BAL? Is
Definitely
ICSL the
not.
type of competition that gets you ready for the BAL? I think those are the
Definitely not.
questions that one needs to look at. Shouldn't
Mm,
we strengthen the domestic competition, which is the BNL as presently structured? Does it serve the needs of South African basketball? I mean, over the years, we have seen it just go from being strong to just perpetual decline. So, yeah, we need to really, really, the powers that be in, oh, well, we don't have a basketball structure right now, but, whoever comes in needs to, just look at South African basketball holistically from the grassroots right up to what the pro ranks and obviously where you have your national team.
yeah, yeah. That's very true. And yeah, as I said, I have a lot of question mark with the BL actually this year. I have a lot to say
Yeah.
about it. From the organization aspect, which we actually outlined in the previous podcast, the organization preparation to this BL was very poor. And now I'm coming to the court of play or the games you saw in Sandbert Arena. For me personally, I'm speaking my mind. So if the audience
Yeah.
have any alternative to this, you can just drop it in the comment section and we'll go against it. But from my analytical point of view, following basketball for the past years or being in this basketball system for some time now, I would
Mm.
say the level of BL I've watched from season one, season two, season three. And I think this is a very disappointing BL season I've watched, the worst I've watched. For me personally, this would be the worst
Mhm.
BL that I've watched so far. Someone will ask, why would I say this is the worst BL I've watched? We've seen that, as I said earlier, this competition or this season six came as an opportunity for people to do try and error because they knew that we
Yeah.
weren't up to that standard. We had to fit in somewhere, somehow, do something to gain the qualification. It wasn't all about we fighting all toe to toe or going all in bounds for bounds to get the qualification. No, it's about the tactical play we put on the court. If I can get my first two wins, I'm out of it. I can secure a place for myself. And that's what I said earlier that it worked for that city. That city came into this tournament with the mindset of winning their first two games. So it was like,
Mm.
let me get my first two games done, fix in my imports, let them get the numbers for me. And then after that, we felt reluctant and just enjoy basketball. And they did that and it worked. It
Yeah.
perfectly worked. Same applies to RSSB Tigers. They came with the mindset of, yes, let's do what we can in our first games, clear them. After that, we do define what we can do. And hopefully it worked perfectly for them because they went on to win 4 games, and eventually at the last game they're like, it's nothing to lose anymore. Let's just go. Let's just play this as it is. And we saw they losing their last game and stuff. The defensive work on this BL was very poor. There was no defense. The only team that played defense to that standard for me was Petro de Luanda. You could see that these guys
Yeah.
understood what it meant to be on that stage, understood what BL really means because they've been there 6 times. This is their 6th time on that podium, and they really
Yeah.
understand what BL really means. So they came in really prepared offensively and defensively. Though in some games, they weren't efficient on the offense, but you could see that this team understood the structure, the work frame of BL
Yeah.
compared to the other teams who just came in to do try and error with no defense and stuff. Personally, I would like to take it from one point to another, like from single team perspective. Let's look at
Yeah.
Nairobi City Tenders. An Nairobi City Tender team came with no offensive structure and yet had poor defensive structure at all. We could see that this team were finding it difficult to even adjust with their imports. The import they brought in
Yeah.
really didn't fit into the system well. Eugene
Yeah.
Odera wasn't a point guard, but you could clearly see that this guy was struggling to connect with the imports, even to connect with some of his
Yeah.
players as a point guard. A team like that wasn't even able to defend their rim. They weren't able to protect their rim in the first place. So it got to a
Mm.
point whereby it was more about, okay, now since we can't defend, let's try to score more. So that's how the BAL became now. It's like a PR show. It's about the showbiz, the fan of it. Let's score more. Let's go bounce for bounce in the scoring terms since the defense is not working. And we saw that and this averaged a high scoring basketball games. This is the first time we could see multiple 100+ scores across different games. If you could notice, Al Ali was scoring 118 and so on and so forth.
But also, it goes down to the quality of player that you bring. I mean, Nairobi City Thunder, one day you are bringing one tournament, you are bringing Atema Jok, Abdullahi Haruna to come and help you qualify for the BAL. Then the next tournament, you are bringing in maybe somebody who's untested, somebody who doesn't fit well into the team. So how much scouting goes into making sure that the player you are bringing in fits well into the team? I think RSSB, of course, they were an offensive. They were an juggernaut in offense, where they had Randall scoring all those threes from all over the
Mm,
court. Even breaking the scoring record of the BAL that was held by 2024 MVP Jolual
yeah,
Atril. So, and also having Tiefan Leonard as well, who's also a scoring threat and also a player who can defend well in the paint. But yeah, those pieces worked well for them, and also having Mangok Matiang as well, who is a beast in the paint and can crash those balls, and he's also
yeah.
can what get you buckets on the other end. So in my opinion, yeah, they did well. I don't have an issue. I think maybe the only issue is some of the opposition, you could say that they were not as strong as expected. I mean, when you compare it to previous seasons, yeah, where it was more competitive, maybe because of the structure of the conferences, where you had three
Yeah.
conferences, and you knew that every single game counted. You cannot afford to gamble with one game or 2 games because you are out. Whereas now the 6-team conference, 2 conferences, you can maybe risk it if you confident that still, yeah, you'll get that result against this team, you'll get that result against that other team. You can kind of risk it, and yeah, like you say, lose 2 games but win 2 other games, and you'll make it. So I think
Yeah, I get
maybe that's why we
I
should
get
gauge
your
it from
point.
that.
I get your point, but what I'm trying to say is, yes, the offensive work at this BL was very nice, was very good. You could
Yeah,
see teams were going all out on offensive work, but my problem is the defense, the lack of defense actually propelled this offensive work. Do you get my point? And
yeah,
coming to the hour, I have some notes that I've jotted down to prove my point actually.
Yeah.
You could see that teams were slugging on defense. So it's produced a high scoring games. It's produced an efficient offensive work. Do you get me? Let me
Yeah.
just land. It's produced an
Yeah.
offensive work. Look, let's take RSSP Tigers. RSSP Tigers was built
Yes.
around three players. Was built around Tifel Leonard, Craig Randall, and Mathieu Magok. And these players were the soul of RSSB Tigers. And
Yeah.
a team like RSSB Tigers was seen as very proficient when it comes to scoring. And
Yeah.
I'll say I have problem with it because teams that this RSSB Tigers played didn't have much defense. They didn't play enough defense. Let's take a look at when they played Petro de Luanda, a well structured and defensive
Yes.
team. When they played
Yeah.
Petro de Luanda, Tifel Randall, Greg Randall, who was very good from threes and all those things. He had 22 field goals attempts. He had 22 goals field
Yeah.
attempts and made five out of that 22 field goals attempts. That is 22.7% from field goals. In his 3 point
Yeah.
attempt, he had 14 and made three, only three out of it, giving you 21.4%. His free throw attempt, he had
Hmm.
three attempts and made two. So look at
Yeah.
it. Now let's look at it when he played Al Ali. Al Ali, he had field goals of 29 and made 12 out of the 29. In his 3 pointers, he had 21 and scored 8. So
Yeah.
you see the level of defense depreciating from those games.
Yeah.
And
Let me
then
go. Like, how did teams prepare for this tournament? Petro,
that's my point.
how they
That's my
prepare.
point because
And
teams.
then
That's what
you
I'm
go
saying.
to Al Ahly. Yeah, how did yes, Al Ahly had their own issues.
Yes.
Dar City, not enough depth.
Mm-hmm.
Nairobi City Thunder, questionable quality as well in terms of how they put their team together.
Yeah.
Are they learning a lot? How much are they learning from competing against teams like Kenya Ports Authority,
Mm-hmm.
Umoja? So you have to question maybe the quality of the domestic league in Kenya. Dar City didn't really play much didn't play any games at all since the road to BAL, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, those you have to maybe pick out those issues. How well have teams prepared for this team? Even Giants. I mean, Giants struggled guarding the 3 pointers, right?
They struggled a lot when it came to the
They
3 pointers.
struggled with rebounding. They just
Mm-hmm.
struggled with all areas of the game.
Yeah.
So I think I wouldn't put it down to defense. I think maybe when you go down to BAL Conference, where you see teams are in season, Fuz Rabat is in season,
Mm-hmm.
Club African is in season right now. Well, they lost the league. They lost their league championship which they won last year.
Yeah.
Al Ahly are still in competition right now, and ASVille Dakar, they are in season right now as we speak. So
Yeah.
maybe those kinds of teams, you will see that there will be more effort as compared to other teams like
But
where
don't you think
Nairobi City Thunder, they started their season was kind of topsy turvy. You weren't sure whether it's gonna start. There were issues with contracts about
but
So there were
yeah,
postponements of leagues. So you have to. It goes down to preparation. I mean,
that's
RSSB,
what
they were assembled in a short space of time, but they were in season. That's the point. Petro is in season. And also El
that's
Ahly,
I get
even though
I
they
get the
had their
point.
issues,
But
they are still in season. And the other three teams,
hmm, but wait, I get the point. I get the point. But my point is, if you're a team, knowing that you are coming to this caliber of competition as a coach, you should work your defensive work and your offensive work for you to get it right coming into this tournament. And even on the defensive aspect, I'm not talking about only this lesser teams not getting it. Look, for
yeah,
me, the whole competition, the team with a good defensive structure for me was Petro de Luanda. Even RSSB didn't have that good defensive structure because okay, they might look good defensively because Matiang was a force in the paint. He was crashing those balls,
yeah,
getting those rebounds, and Tifo Leonard
yeah,
also came in somehow. Aside those two players, the
yeah,
rest weren't defensive minded players. Do you get my point?
yes,
Do you get my point? Even look at the record breaking 54 points Tifo Craig Randall had. against that City. That City was very
Yeah.
shambolic on that day when it came to defense because they allowed him from the field goals. Out of 36, he made 18. Out of 24 3-point attempts, he made 11. That gave him the 54 point. So you see the caliber of defense I'm talking about.
No,
You see what I'm
but
trying to talk
you
about?
defense, you build your defensive chemistry by playing regularly, right? You know who's where, who's
Definitely.
what coverages to make. I mean, that's what
Mhm.
Petro got right, the coverages. Whereas, teams like Dar City, they practice among themselves with their imports joining in later. But, they're not getting that kind of competition to make sure that are we defensively sound? Yes, we can score, which is probably the easy part. But
Mm.
are we defensively sound? Can we guard the three? Can there be coverages in the paint? Can there be coverages, where we know somebody's going to shoot the three? Can we, are we able to crash boards? Those kinds of things. You have to, that comes with match practice. And you cannot solely rely on your practices to make sure that you are fully prepared for a tournament like the BAL.
Mm.
You will be exposed, and teams like Nairobi City Thunder, City, and Giants have been exposed.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. They have been
And
exposed.
the common thread among those three teams that, even though Dar City squeezed through, is that they are not in season, or some don't even have a proper league running, which is what? Giants are not a part of a proper league. I'm not sure when that league in Tanzania is beginning. I think Nairobi City Thunder only played how many leagues to get themselves ready for this tournament.
Yeah, but as for
I
me, as
mean, you
let
have to
me
look at that. That's a common thread between these three teams, in my opinion.
yes,
It's their
that's for a
preparation.
fact. That's for a fact that that's a common trait. Their preparation was very poor to this tournament. But for me, one thing I also accept is as a coach or as a team, you come in for a tournament, regardless of how your competition has been, how poor you've participated in your leagues, or how unprepared you can't come to a tournament telling us you are unprepared. That's for a fact because you know what you're going to face. You've been watching. That's why you've got look. That's why each team have analysts. Okay, let me get to the point. Have analysts to study their
Yeah.
opponents
Okay.
and know the weakness of the opponent and see that this is what our opponent has over us, and we try to what counter that threat and stop it. Do you get my point?
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's why every team has an analyst to analyze the game of the opponent. I get what you're trying to
Yeah.
say that preparation wise led to this team's poor performance in defensively, which I totally 100% agree to it. But I think more work should be put into it when you get to the stage like this, knowing that you could expect anything at this stage. You've watched these players play in
Yeah.
their leagues and how dominant they've been coming into this tournament, and you
Yeah.
don't leave them to do whatever they want to do on the court. At least your players should be willing to fight for it to give us a show. Look at Johannesburg Giants losing a game by 30 points. It's you sit at the arena and you're asking yourself, what are these guys doing on the court? No disrespect to these players. They've put in the work to be there. They played, they fought very hard to reach here. But my question is, how do you feel, you as a player on the court, when you give this up, you give this kind of performance, losing by a 30 points game, losing by 30 points in a game? You see, it's questionable. Some defeats are very humiliating. In basketball, they might seem like, oh, it's just a normal defeat, but it
Yeah.
eats into your head and it takes you off completely. So yeah, I feel for me, I feel the defensive work in this conference was very bad. It was a high scoring efficiency. The scoring
Yeah.
aspect, offense was elite for me, but the defensive work, I don't know if okay. Also, I don't know if it's because of the structure that they built. They changed the whole structure of the tournament, so maybe players got tired along the line with the piled up fixtures coming being or the fixtures being congested or something like that. Because some teams had some few days to rest, maybe one day or two.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's the point. But for me, I say it's a very poor defensive work, and I expect to see much better in the Sahara Conference because, as you said, these teams are all in their seasons, having regular playing time,
Exactly. The
and
only
all these
team,
teams or the only team there that will not be playing is Marktown
Marktown
Flyers, who are
Flyers
off
of
their
Nigeria,
season.
they're not in
Yes,
season. So, I mean,
yes,
if they finish stone last, you will not be surprised
I
because,
understand.
yeah,
Yes, And most of this
Exactly.
team in the Sahara Conference have got depth on their teams. In the likes of Fuzi
Mm.
Rabat, they've got depth on their team. JCA has a little depth that we've seen in them doing in the Ligue d'Or in Cote d'Ivoire. ASVille de
Yeah.
Dakar has got depth. ASVille de Dakar have got depth. Al Ali from Egypt has got the depth. You know,
Yeah.
Club Africans who are battling now with signings, and because their player Michael Dyson has actually left the team, and I don't know why he has left the team. I think they will not be coming with the 2021 MVP. The guy who won the MVP with Zamalek, yeah, in the first season. I think
Oh, you
he's
mean
left Club
US
Africans.
Monastir?
Oh, he won with yes, with US Monastir. Sorry, was
Yeah.
it? Yeah, with okay, it's Hodge that one with Zamalek
Yeah.
in the first season. Yes, US
Yeah.
Monastir one with US Monastir. He's left Club Africans from I don't know why he's left, but from my sources, he's no longer with the team. So they have to find players to fit in now and also come out. Since they've also lost the league to again, they couldn't win the league, retain their league in the Tunisian Pro League, Pro A. So US Monastir are the winners of the league again, and they'll be back. So yeah, we expect much more from that conference. But yeah, for
Yeah.
me, I once again I was disappointed with the defensive work in the Sahara Conference. I wasn't impressed, and I want to see something better in the Sahara Conference.
Yeah, man. I think if you want to see something better, it's again going to your domestic league. How is it structured? Is it in line with, the BAL? Every time this year, it's BAL season.
Mm,
How long? What's the duration of your league? How is it structured? Does it go from, let's say, June or August to what, February next year, and or March next year, or is it still in season playing? So you other teams like Giants, teams like teams like Petro, teams like RSSB, they are still in season, so they have that chemistry going. So
yeah,
teams like Giants, teams like Dar City, Nairobi City Thunder, they are going to struggle to match that kind of pace. They will
yeah, definitely.
what closely contest games among themselves, but
Hmm.
other teams, seasoned teams like Petro, it's gonna be a struggle. Against El Ahly, it will be a struggle.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, man, it's about, I think, national federations having discussions with clubs and saying this is the best way forward so we can be prepared for this league.
Yeah,
And
we
then we
we
can
always sit here and talk
prep
about.
a proper diagnosis of the issue. But again, go back to my common thread and see how teams have
Mm,
prepared. And you
yeah,
will,
that's your common thread makes sense though. It's I totally
yeah,
agree with that. That it's these three teams haven't prepared much for the tournament. But yeah, um, as I said, it was a try and error situation in this conference, and the teams that were fortunate that it worked for them, it worked for them.
yeah.
Especially that City, this try and error played in their favor, and yeah, so there is nothing much I can say about that. And give me your top players from this Kalahari conference.
Oh wow! Before I go, I liked player Childe Dundao. Yeah, he's been playing amazing basketball since the Afro Basket World Cup qualifiers, and his form has also transferred to Kalahari Conference, and one hopes he still keeps it up in the playoffs. Who else did I like? Wow, I liked Derek Ogechi as well of Nairobi City Thunder.
Mm.
Yeah, he didn't see much action the previous season, but yeah, he stepped up a lot for this team, despite them not qualifying for the playoffs. Mangok Matiang from RSSB, he has just been dominant on the boards, scoring as well. Loved him. So that's three so far.
Yeah, three so far.
And let me see.
Is it that tough?
Oh wow, wow! I'm struggling. Jolual Trill, I think I liked him a little bit. How he can also play outside, inside. I liked him. And one more. Okay, maybe Craig Randall. Yeah, for
Okay,
obvious
okay,
reasons.
okay. Yeah, it's that one was clearly obvious. That one was clearly obvious. Not bad, not bad of a start. Top five over there. For me, clearly, I won't put Randall
Yeah,
in my top five because for me, I still
yeah,
think I still think he puts out incredible numbers. No disrespect to Randall, he's a great solid shooter. A little one of that is great at shooting.
Yeah,
He's a very good player, but I don't think I see him in my top five. Maybe my first person that I'll put in my top five is Magog Matieng, who was dominant offensively and
yeah,
defensively, averaging 18.8 points per game. Also having 16 rebounds per
mm,
game as well. So this is the kind of a player you would want in your team with the numbers he gives and his two-way efficiencies on the court. Also, I'll go for Joe Lal Akil, who is a former MVP when it comes to BAL and no stranger to the basketball African terrain. Um, also give you 21.2
yeah,
points per game and
yeah,
12 rebounds per game. So also I put Jolil Akwel over there, a very good player. I think I'll go for Majok Deng of
yeah,
Al Ali Benghazi also again. Very
yeah,
good player. Also give you 19.2 points per game and a 2.0 still per game as well. So I think I'll fit him there. The AfroBasket's MVP, Hilde Dundao, cannot be left out of this lineup for me. 18.8
yeah,
points per
of
game,
course.
5.2 assists per game, 2.2 rebounds per game. Very solid player and very key player for Petro de Luanda throughout the competition. He stood out when the team needed him the most, and yeah, he gave all his all. And that's four that I've mentioned. And I think the last person I want to go for, which might be surprising for me. I think he's a local talent. He's a local player. Um, who didn't see much minutes on the court. But I think when he was given the little opportunity, he showed what he was all about. That is Cisco George Ngaiza from Dar City. I think um,
Yeah,
I would also want to put Cisco in my top five for the local sports. Enough of the imports for the local sports. This guy had 13 minutes,
yeah,
13.6 minutes played. He only played in the last game against RSSB, whereby he averaged, I think, 15 points. And he had 23 rebounds, if I'm not mistaken, 23 or 24, and he was a few rebounds away from equaling the official BAL most rebounds records. Yeah, I think Cisco would be there. And I think moving forward, Coach Papi Gaye should give these guys the opportunity to also express themselves. We can't keep such a caliber of player on the bench and just give him a last minute show. And it's very bad. We also saw what Cisco came with on the court against RSSB. This guy was a fortress on the court when it comes to rebounding and stuff. He even also put in the numbers the team deserves. So I think moving forward, Papi Gaye should actually learn to trust his players or his local players. We all know that City had no local players. The strength of the local players were very low. But at least if Cisco can give you these numbers in a game against RSSB Tigers, then you should ask yourself, why did I have a 3 months training session with these guys? Wasn't it for me to see the strength of these local players? Because he was with these guys in that city for 3 solid months. And then you come to a tournament and you tell us these players are still not fit to play for you, then there is a big question mark, or you don't have trust in them, then there is a big question mark. So I think moving forward, Cisco should be considered by him to give him enough playing time. This guy just had one game and he proved himself. So that's the reason why I'm putting him in this slot, and he being the local player as well. So yeah, this is my top five: Magok Matieng, Joe Lil Akil, Majok Deng, Childe Dundao, and Cisco George Ngeza. So yeah, that's my top five. I would have loved to put Michinowa over there, but sorry, I want to go with a local talent on this one from that city. Yeah, but any surprise from this whole thing for you, or anything you would want to say before we sign out?
nah.
Is there
Well,
anything
just
you?
looking forward to
Yeah,
yes, looking forward to the now conference now. Looking how
Sahara
teams
Conference.
there, obviously they
Sahara
are shaping
Conference.
up. Sorry, is it Sahara Conference, not now conference? Yes, the Sahara
Yeah, we don't have now
Conference, how
conference.
teams will shape up, and looking forward to seeing teams like Club African making their debut, Mactan Flyers as well. Will Al Ahly of Egypt return and reclaim the trophy? Those are, oh well, will they finish at the top and reclaim the trophy in this season of the BAL. I think that's probably what I'm looking forward to. Some of the what storylines I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Yeah, much expectation will be in the Sahara Conference with though there are some three debutants also there and some known faces over there. So, but yeah, I think I'm expecting some high level of basketball from there. Not what I saw in the Kalahari Conference. Yeah, but anyways, would bring a preview or we would bring a preview of the Sahara Conference before we get down into that one. And yeah, I think we'll bring this to an end. This episode to an end over here. And yeah, it's been nice you guys stayed with us throughout this episode, and we really appreciate. Um, yeah, we had some topic we wanted to discuss, but due to time constraint, we wouldn't be able to bring it up. But in our next episode, we're definitely going to bring it
Yeah.
up. Yeah, thanks for the time and thanks for watching. And if this episode has been one of your best episodes, or if you've learned anything from this episode, just don't forget to hit the subscribe buttons, and kindly follow us on all our social media platforms on Growing the Game. And the big tip off. Yeah, my name is Kekeli, and I was your host for today. Bye.